Hi, this is James Moss, and I'm doing a review of the 1982 excellent horror film Creepshow right here. Yep, Creepshow. Released on November 10th, 1982, directed by the great George A. Romero. Just a minute. Yep, George A. Romero teams up with Stephen King to do 5 bloody good stories. Yep. It has a very good cast and everything. Yep, also, that is a tribute to horror comics of the 50s. Yep. So let's get started. It started out at a house where Billy lives when his asshole dad bullying him, telling him why you keep buying these horror crap. He was reading horror comics. Oh, come on, this is America. I can read anything I want to. But Billy's dad, played by Tom Atkins, slapped Billy. Yeah, Billy's played by Joe Hill, a.k.a. Joe King, Stephen King's son. Yeah, Billy trying to please him not to throw it away, but his dad says, "No, tug in. I'm gonna throw this away." Billy said, "Throw the comic in the trash." Oh, come on. It could be worth a lot of money. Asshole dad. But he heard the laugh by left, getting back inside, telling us about blah 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 blah. Anyways, when Billy gets a paid visit to the Creepins, and he says, "I hope he rots in hell." And then we get to the title card in the scene Creepshow. Yep. We get to our first story. That is Father's Day. Yep. Just a minute. Anyways, the first story is Father's Day. Everyone is just gathered around about the anniversary of when Nathan Graham was murdered by his daughter Bedelia Graham, and everybody. That's when we get to Ed Harris, in his earlier role, who played Hank in the film. Yeah, but as they were talking about how their patriarch Nathaniel Graham in past was murdered by his daughter 5 years earlier. He says, that's when Hank says, well, she was, yes, supposedly murdered by her. Was she the one who, yes, supposedly she murdered her father. We get to see Bedelia driving her car to the graveyard where her father was buried there. Her father was actually an asshole who was a bootlegger and made a lot of money on doing bootlegging and all that stuff, and he sell his soul to the devil. Yeah, an asshole dad. Just a minute. When Bedelia made it to the graveyard, she remembered 5 years ago when she murdered her father. All because that he was an asshole to her, who also murdered her boyfriend. She remembered the day that she killed her father with a marble ashtray. And she said, "Happy Father's Day," and kill her father back, killing him instantly. Yeah, he died. We get to the grave and she talk about all the bad things that he did to her and everyone. She dropped her Jim Beam in her father's grave, and she sit there, and then that's when the hand pop out. Appear it was her father came back from the dead. I guess that Jim Beam must have bring him back from the dead and knock him out. And then he says, "Where's my cake, Bedelia?" He got her, then she died of scare. Later that night, we get to Hank and his wife were just dancing. Her brother was just sitting there, and that's when Sylvia say, Turn that damn racket right now. That's when Sylvia asked Hank to go find Bedelia. He went to find her, and he fell into Nathan's grave and found Bedelia dead. And then we get to Nathan using some zombie power to push the tomb, and Hank dies. And then that's when Sylvia decided to go check her maid die, and then that's when Nathan appears saying, "Where's my cake?" and twisted Sylvia's head like this, and she died. That's when the brother and sister decided to go check on what's going on, and then they went to the kitchen, and then that's when Nathan appeared with the head of Sylvia saying, "I got my cake. Happy Father's Day." Yeah, well, he got his cake. That was shutting him up for now on. We cut to the next story called "The Loathsome Death of Jordy Verrill." Yeah, Jordy Verrill is played by the one and only Stephen King. Yeah, Stephen King played as Jordy Verrill, a hillbilly hick who saw a meteorite crash into his property in the field, and that's when Jordy says, "Holy Jesus! Dang, check that shit out of meteor." He touched the meteor. That's when he realized he could sell the meteorite to the Department of Meteors and get a lot of money out of it so he could pay his loan to the bank. He fantasized it in $200. I'm gonna get you something to cool down with. He cooled it down, and the mirror broke in half. He should have called the police about it. He could have been on Inside Edition or anything, but damn it, that never happened. That's when he says, "Jordy Verrill, you lunkhead, I won't pay $200 for a broken mirror. I'll pay you 10 cents. Yeah, Jordy Verrill, dumb luck. He dumped the meteor goo into the ground and to say, "Oh, I'll straighten things out in the morning." Yeah, Jordy Verrill was watching wrestling when all of a sudden the green stuff grows and his property again turned into green grass. Just a minute. And that's when Jordy was drinking his whiskey, and that's when he noticed the green stuff on his hand. He was freaking out. Everything is growing, including outside, turning green. He tried everything to cool it down, but nothing works. Then he decided to take a bath. That's when the ghost of his dad appears and warned Jordy not to go into the bath to soak it out. That's when he did it anyways. And then the next one, he was covered in green stuff, and he grabbed the shotgun and shot himself. Boy, well, it looks like he won't be getting that role for Swamp Thing. It's already been taken. The news report saying it's going to rain for the next 7 days. Yeah, everything's all going to be covered in grass soon. Then we get to the third story. Something to tie you over. Just a minute. We get to some guy's apartment in the third story, named Henry Winworth, played by the great Ted Danson in his first role. And he gets a knock on the door. It was Richard, someone he knew, played by the great Leslie Nielsen. Yeah. Richard saying, "I know you had sex with my wife." And that's when Henry admitted to Richard saying, "You found out. Me and Becky were going to tell you all about the whole thing." That's when he brought a tape recorder of his wife. See? That's when Becky says, "Please come this instantly." Boy, Richard's an ass. Yep. He took Henry to his private beach, and the shocker that he's gonna bury Henry in the hole and tell him to get in the hole, and he did, and tell him that cover yourself up when I come back. And then we get to him that Henry is now full because body's covered up by his head. that's when Richard brought brought a television and a big old cable out, and also it brought his VCR out there and tell Henry, say, it's showtime, and show Becky, oh man, this is a recorder, I'm gonna save all that, I'll be back. Boy, what an ass, he's gonna kill Henry, going to drown him to death. We get to still cut the story shorter, the tide came in and then, yeah, Henry died. Richard came back and found Henry disappear, and he heard a voice and went back into his house. Later that night, as Henry was taking a shower, Richard taking a shower, that's when we cut to two zombie figures appear. That's when Richard heard the noise and he checked it, and turns out it was, yeah, Henry and Becky came back from the dead as zombies, and then says, come with us, Henry. Boy, Richard was freaking out, trying to kill the zombies, and we dug a hole for you. And Richard was all freaking out, and then he got into the camera was rolling, and then he says, I could hold my breath for a long time. Yeah, he got what he deserved, that asshole. Just a minute. Then we cut to the fourth story. That was a pretty good one. The crate. This one is an A+ on this one. When the janitor Mike was flipping his quarter, when the quarter rolled into the crate, rolled into a hole under the stairs, and noticed there's a crate there saying 1838. Just a minute. We get to a party is happening there over at Henry. Henry's played by Holbrook. Yeah, he's a good actor. His wife Wilma is a bitch. Wilma's played by Andrea Balbora. She's a good actress. She was on the TV show Mall. Anyways, Wilma is talking ass. She's totally intoxicated. Boy, she texts smack, talking shit about her husband, Henry, a lot. Henry's friend Dexter Stanley is there. Dexter is played by Fritz Weaver. He's a good actor as well. Anyways, Wilma was talking shit all the time. She says they look like Jaws. Where are all those kids supposed to be in the gorilla suit? Anyways, that's when the maid tell Dexter that he got a call. It was Mike the janitor telling him that he found something there was a crate saying about an Arctic expedition in 1836. That's when Dexter says, as far as the National Geographic says, they're not around yet. Dexter went to the college that he works there and tried and help. Meanwhile, Henry's fantasizing killing Wilma by shooting her in the head, and everybody says, nice shot. But it was actually just a one of those daydreams. Damn it. Well, anyways, later that day, Dexter went to the college that he works there and helped Mike get what's in the crate. They open, and that's when a hairy beast appeared, grabbed Mike's hand, killing Mike and trying to kill him, but Mike trying to kill him with the gun, but fail. Dexter's all freaking out of his mind. That's when ran into one of the honor students named Charlie he recognized and asked him for his help. Charlie found the blood and found the crate, and then he tossed Mike's shoe and trying to master the bite, and then that thing grabbed Charlie. The crate killed him instantly. Yeah, the monster is named Fluffy, that Tom Savini named it. Boy, I bet that Fluffy has something to do with Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance. Well, anyways, Dexter drove to Henry's place and explained everything. Henry decided to keep Dexter safe in his studies and just sleep him in. he left a fake note to Wilma, and Henry found that crate thing and cleaned it up. And the note Wilma found it saying, Dexter's been having problems with women, getting into trouble ever since his wife passed away about 6 years ago. But he may have gone too far. Blah 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 blah. Wilma went to the university to find the woman that Dexter was harassing. Henry showed Wilma what's in there and but Wilma's still alive. Oh, another flashback, but Fluffy up here, but this time it's not a daydream, it's the real McCoy. Fluffy kill Wilma. Well, she got what she deserved for being an asshole wife. Henry says, just call you Billy, like he called the monster Billy. After he devoured Wilma, Henry decided to try to seal the crate up with some chains. And then, to make the story shorter, Henry dumped the crate into the ocean. Henry explained to Dexter, there's no foul play or anything. I checked the law books. Well, if the police comes, he should say he hasn't seen his wife since last night. That was the last time he saw his wife. And then they were playing chess. That's when meanwhile in the ocean, Fluffy broke the crate. Well, I guess Fluffy's just going around somewhere. Just a minute. That's when we get to the final story. They creep up on you. Yeah. We get to Upson Pratt, who is an asshole owner, who is the CEO owner, that asshole, played by the great E.G. Marshall. He also plays the president in the movie Superman 2. Yeah, Upson Pratt hates cockroaches. He hates cockroaches and bugs. He's a germophobic. Yeah, he's got all the futuristic stuff. He's also an asshole boss. He got a call from this woman that her husband, who's the owner of a rival company, passed away. She says, "I'll kill you." After she hung up, he says, "Huh." But anyways, that's when we get to a doorbell. It was the exterminator. He said he'll come around 1 o'clock to spray. He says, "Sure." He's also a racist. Yep. But anyways, that's when the cockroaches keep appearing. He's keep freaking out. To make the story shorter, Mr. Pratt went into this isolation room. Then the cockroaches appeared. Then he died instantly. Yeah, well, the cockroaches coming out of his mouth. Well, he got what he deserved. Anyways, we get to the end of the prologue when two garbage men, one of them is Tom Savini, making a cameo appearance as the garbage man with the mustache, yeah? He found the comic book and his friend, look, it's the comic book. My kids love these, me too. They noticed there was an ad for a voodoo doll. Somebody clipped that. We can't get that. Billy's dead, says, "Billy, come downstairs." His wife saying, he'll come down for sure. "Are you okay?" He says, "I've been hurting last night. I'll get some Bengay." That's when Billy, who was the one who ordered the voodoo doll, used it to kill his father like this. Right here in the throat. "I'll teach you for all my comic books. You want some more shot, Dad?" Hey, ah. Yeah, his dad got what he deserved. Just a minute. We cut to the creep holding the latest issue of Creepshow with Billy in it, yeah? And then end the film. Yeah, but I'll give Creepshow 5 out of 5. It's an excellent, brilliant 80s horror film. It's a good anthology film right here, yeah? Creepshow. Yeah, the music is brilliant and everything. I recommend you should check it out. Get it on any media form you could get. I'll give Creepshow 5 out of 5. Kick-ass. For my next review, I'm going to review the sequel Creepshow 2. Till then, I'm going to go order that voodoo doll I wanted and go after Vladimir Putin, including China's president and North Korea's president. They're going to get what they deserve. See ya, and don't forget those comic books. They may be worth zillions in the future. Bye for now.